Hey, loves, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I am back with another bomb live. If you're just now coming in here, please hit the like button. That helps people know that I am on live. Yeah, I know I'm coming on at a different time today. Honestly, I ain't even feel like coming through. Okay, I'm gonna get on this Colombian energy drink though and make it do what it do. Cause I said I didn't want to go 2 days in a row without going live, and I feel like the discussion today is gonna be good. Okay, it's not gonna disappoint. But anyways, I have this Colombian energy drink. It's called Amper or Amper. And this works. This is pretty good. I guess this would be comparable to like their Red Bull. But yeah, I like it. It has all these health warnings on it. That's one thing about Colombian food. Y'all, the government will not let them make it. Any little thing wrong with that food, and they got to put a healthcare warning on it. It's not like in the US where you just have to put a healthcare warning on liquors or cigarettes. No, if it's a chip, they got to put, oh, this has too much salt or anything like that. But yeah, guys, so we're going to talk about marriage today. I really want to know y'all's opinions and how y'all feel. So, like at the end of this, I'm actually going to do a panel. So y'all can get on the live stream if y'all want. And we're going to talk about ring chasing. Okay. Now, what inspired this for me is that I saw a video on Anton Daniels' channel pop up. And y'all know I have mixed feelings about him, but I feel like he gives some advice that's good. You know, people either hate him or like him. I kind of see it as I'm a chew the bones, chew the meat and spit out the bones. I do think he has some type of pent up animosity towards single mothers ever since him and Six the Goddess fell out. Because before then, he really didn't used to say anything about single mothers. After Six, he been going ham on single mothers every chance he get because she won't talk to him no more. What's up, Jamal? Good to see you, brother. Okay, I know that's right, Jamal. Okay, well, you finna zone out. I have mixed feelings about Anton, but he plays into the right. Are you talking about politics wise? Yeah, but I think since he's gotten on YouTube, he's been more of a right leaning person. It never gave liberal. It never gave that. So he's been consistent. Yeah, she a queen. So he couldn't handle that, y'all. He couldn't handle that rejection. And you couldn't tell me that Anton wasn't feeling her. I don't care how much he tried to act like he faithful. Let me tell you something. His wife, that's who he could get when he didn't have any money. But Six is the type of woman that he want now that he does have some money. Okay. And I'm not just saying that because she looks good. I'm saying that based on his pathology, the way he behaves, the way I watched him react to her, the way I've seen him react to other women. Like it's definitely giving, he got money. So it's definitely giving the dude that got rejected in high school. So he got with who he could get with at the time. Now he got money and they still don't want him, so he feel away. So he been going in on us single moms. Yeah, Six is gorgeous. She is perfect. Yeah, perfection. Yeah, flawless, beautiful, and smart. She's a Virgo. She's a Virgo. I don't need to say anything else. Okay. So we're gonna talk about marriage. So honestly, guys, I have very mixed feelings about marriage. Some people might say that I have commitment issues, but I don't think I have commitment issues. I'm just not in a rush to get into anything. Do y'all understand? And when I say that, it's not like I want to be out here in these streets having flings and one night stands and things of that nature. It's not that at all. Like, if I start talking to somebody or I start dating somebody, it's genuinely because they piqued my interest, not because I felt horny or something like that. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Or it wasn't because I felt lonely. It's because I saw something that I liked. But with that said, I feel like a lot of people make marriage just seem so undesirable for me. When I think of marriage, I think about control. Most of the time when I talk to married people, I don't listen to them and their stories, or I don't look at them and their lifestyles and feel inspired to get married. I view marriage as a control mechanism, right? It's a couple things. You got people who were married and they settled, so they're out here cheating, but then they got married so that they could police each other from not cheating. And it's all about trying to control the terms in which you do the relationship, but it's an illusion of control. One thing that I really admire about men is that before men get into a relationship, let alone marriage, they think about all the stuff that they are going to have to give up. And I know women try to make it seem like that's a bad thing, but honestly, it's smart, right? Men think about, dang, I'm going to have to give up time with my friends. Maybe I want to date other people. Maybe there's somebody out there better for me. I won't have the opportunity to date them. Maybe there's this one chick I've really been waiting on. She just won't fool with me right now. If I'm with this one, if she become available, I'm not going to be able to get with her. Men think about stuff like, dang, am I going to be able to breathe? Am I going to be able to have freedom? Is she going to be blowing my phone up? Is she going to act crazy? What if we get married? What if we get a divorce? Am I going to lose my money? Am I going to lose custody of my kids? Like, men think about all of this, and women, we don't think about it at all, because society has programmed us to be out here ring chasing, when the fact of the matter is we have way more to lose than men. Men think about losing their freedom or losing their ability to go out here and sleep with other women. And I know y'all think a lot of men are just dogs, but there are so many men who don't want to get married because they know they're going to cheat, or they don't trust themselves enough to be faithful, right? So men think a lot of times that will stop men from getting married, but women have way more things to consider. Your body, him up and leaving you, and then you being the primary caretaker of the kids. What if you get pregnant and you lose your life during birth? Like, your life is on the line. If you get married and decide to birth kids, your life is literally on the line. Women are still being unalived in childbirth. You're going to have to deal with all the physical changes, and not just physical changes, mental changes that come along with birthing children. We have so much more to lose, but yet we're the ones who are constantly pressing for marriage. And why is that? I'm a Capricorn, so I could put up with her judgment. Soon as I get rich, it's going down. Okay. Okay. Women are scared to lose their autonomy. Yeah, I won't deny that. One thing I think about a lot, it gives me anxiety when I think about marriage, because I always think I'm going to get with a man that will eventually turn controlling. And I'm not even a woman that like to be outside like that. Like, I don't mind being at home and cooking and cleaning and taking care of my daughter. And I've lived with the man before and did all that. That's just something that's second nature to me. But I also know when I want to go outside, I want to go outside. And I'm not asking you permission because I'm grown. And you don't got to ask me for permission too. I've been in a relationship before where he used to DJ or he used to go out with his friends. I never was checking up on him when you coming home, blowing his phone up. He was never doing me like that. We didn't have no curfew. And the relationship, for the most part, was good. It didn't work out for other reasons, but it wasn't toxic. But I understand that most people are not able to do relationships like that. They want to try to control you. They want to try to tell you what you can and cannot wear. And for the most part, I'd be dressed modestly. But when I want to put on some whole shit, I want to put on some whole shit. And I don't want to hear nothing about it. For real. Yes, too many things to consider. Hey, what up, Cha Cha? What's up, Sultry Accessory? Hey, ladies. Good to see the ladies in the building. Marriage is beautiful. I think marriage can be beautiful with the right people. But most marriages that I see, I be like, oh, hell no. Hell no. A lot of the times, what I see with marriage is you got one person that's keeping it all together. And most of the time, that's the woman, but some of the time, it's the man. What I see most of the time in a marriage is you got one person putting up with a whole lot of shit. And the only reason why that marriage is still together is because that person will not leave. That's what I see. As far as women, a lot of the times I see women putting up with a whole lot just to get married because they want to be able to stunt on other women. It don't really even be about them loving the man. A lot of the times they want the wedding, they want the ring, they want the wedding pictures, and they want to be able to get one up on women. They want to be able to say, oh, okay, at least I got picked. But most of the time, the women with those attitudes, I see their husbands out here cheating. So who's really the fool? I can't tell you how many women that I see trying to preach about the value of marriage online. And meanwhile, I know so much shit about their man. But we supposed to aspire to have what you have. If I'm super rich, I'm going poly and we're building an empire and they can do what they want. Okay. Some women are still in fairy tale land and some are looking at reality for what it is. That's true. That's true. 6 is extremely conservative. She's not big on women's rights. My daughter calls her a pick-me. 6 says that she's conservative and that she's not big on women's rights. That is absolutely not true. Do y'all watch 6 the Goddess, the rest of y'all? Okay. So let's be clear here. And this is not to dog her or anything like that. I actually feel like it adds value. So we all know 6 used to work in the club. So 6 knows men. She used to work in the strip club. She knows men. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's not conservative, and she used to be a barber. But she has a view about men that most women don't have. Now, I've seen 6 say things like, women should just take a provider man. It don't matter if he big, fat, and sloppy. She says these kind of things. She tries to convince women to put up with certain things sometimes. But if y'all notice, 6 be leaving her relationships and all her men be fine. So as much as she talked that, she's not out here putting up with none of this stuff from these men. So she's not like Crimson Cure. I'll say that. She knows she look good and she absolutely moves in that. Okay, so I'm going to play this video from Anton Daniels. My camera might die. That's okay. Give me a second.
Level up your life. In 1 week,
as long as I get the commitment from him. But of course, that has not happened. And yes, I know I should have walked away a long time ago. I get it, okay? But when you love someone, you are just going to wait and see if maybe eventually they actually go through with what they say they're going to do. So last night was my final straw because we had dinner with his parents and they asked him, when are you guys going to get engaged? When are you actually going to get married? Are you planning on ever proposing to her, or what the fuck is going on? This man tells his parents in front of me that apparently he is still waiting because he wants to make sure that he can get a nice ring. What surprised me after that answer is that his dad told him, I gave you $50,000 a week ago so that you could propose, you could get her a ring because your mom and I want to support you guys. So why haven't you used that money towards it? My boyfriend
Okay, so pause. Waiting 15 years to get married and you know you want to get married is wild behavior to me. I don't care that they've been together since high school. What that tells me is that like around 21, 23, 24, something like that, he should have been proposing. And this is why I say it's not good for people to get married when they're so young. And I know there's this big conservative movement for people to get married right when they're in their early 20s. But most of the time, those relationships don't work out because who you are as a teenager and who you are in your early 20s is not who you're going to be at 25, 30, 35. And yes, we are constantly evolving and growing in life, but you got to think about it like this. When you're between the ages of 18 and 25, things are moving so rapidly. Your brain is developing so rapidly, and it doesn't even fully mature till you start getting in your late 20s. Then from then on, yes, you continue to grow and you continue to change, but like the core of who you are is more set. So I never recommend people getting married to their high school sweetheart, especially if it's toxic. Now, if it's been a good relationship, that's different. But if it's been like super toxic, and a lot of the times the ups and downs, for example, I do believe that there are men that don't cheat, but I do believe that all men cheat at least one time. And most of the time, that cheating is going to happen when they're super young, when you're dating them in high school, y'all fresh out of high school, maybe y'all are in college. And a lot of the times, women have a hard time letting that kind of stuff go. Let me see what y'all trying to say. She is big on male leadership and is more conservative than Anton. I uh, I'm gonna disagree with you on that, Jamal. Like again, says she's more conservative than Anton. But if Six is really that conservative, as good as she look, why is she not married yet? And it has absolutely nothing to do with her not being able to get a man. She's just more picky than what she lets off. She's more picky than what she tells women to be. She don't put up with the same stuff that we don't want to put up with. She's not putting up with. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean by that. Women have to be able to communicate to a man why marriage is the best decision. D Malley, I believe that if you have to communicate to a man why he should get married to you, then he don't want to get married. It might not even be about you. Ladies, I feel like when you first start dating a man, you should ask him if he wants to get married. Now, that's not foolproof because a lot of the times, if a man feels like you want to hear a certain answer, he will give you that. But if a man doesn't come to you with the I want to eventually be married one day from the jump, if he comes to you like, I don't want to get married or I don't know, then I would just take that as a he doesn't want to get married. And I wouldn't waste my time trying to convince him why he should get married. Go find somebody that is saying they want to get married. My baby brother is married and baby sister next month, but they are real Christians. Okay. Jamal Johnson, she's not married. No, Six is not married. She's had a couple of boyfriends since she's had her YouTube channel. Again, both handsome men. We don't know too much about them. She just kind of showed them. And then we always kind of knew when she broke up with them because then she wouldn't talk about them no more or you wouldn't see him no more. But she's not married. She's a high value woman. She's talking about the average woman. Yeah, but my whole thing is she don't be saying the average woman. She don't say a woman that look as good as her shouldn't be putting up with XYZ. No, she talks to every woman and tells every woman that we should just basically take the first provider man that come to us no matter what he look like. And she don't live by that. I say that because everybody's situation is unique. Everyone has to talk. church people should get married young. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. And the reason why I don't agree with it, because I see so many of these trad wives or these church couples where these women are now in their 40s and they're getting on the internet and they're talking about all the regrets that they have. I'm not saying that I think people should be single with the purpose of being out here hoeing. That's not what I'm saying either. I'm I'm saying people should develop their hobbies, develop their likes and their dislikes. People should get to learn themselves and spend time with themselves so that they can know what they want. And my whole thing is, if it's meant to come together, it will come together. I knew a couple from when I first graduated high school. I used to go to church with them. They were a couple years older than me, but they kind of had, they were both Christians, but they kind of had this on again, off again, boyfriend, girlfriend relationship. And when they got closer to 30, they did get married. But like by the time they decided to get married, both of them had spent some time apart and they had spent time being friends and they had spent time learning each other. So what's the rush? I don't understand. I feel like if it's something that's real, if there's a genuine connection, it's gonna come together. And then it'll come together when you're more mature and less likely to mess it up. Because a lot of the times when you're young, you're indecisive. That's where you're gonna make all your mistakes. And some mistakes you can't bounce back from. They do irreparable damage to the relationship.
Told his dad that he is using that money for something far more important than a ring. So my boyfriend's dad told him, then give me the money back because I gave you the money so you can actually go get a ring so you can propose to her and eventually get married. And if you're not going to use it towards that, then give me the money back. The night did not end very well, okay? I ended up staying at my parents' house. And so what this man thinks is that I am at work today. He thinks that I'm stupid enough to go to his house and beg him or go cry, or I don't fucking know what he thinks I'm going to do. But what I'm actually doing is packing my shit because I am not.
Okay, so what she's saying is the boyfriend has been telling her this whole time he's been holding off the proposal because of finances. He wants to get a good enough ring, blase, 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 all of that, right? She's saying that the father gave him $50,000 to go buy a ring, but he instead spent the money on something else, which already lets me know getting married to her is not a priority. It's probably not something that he wants to do. Now she's saying he probably thinks I'm dumb enough to come beg him. Ma'am, y'all been together 15 years. I'm sure you've probably done that before because it doesn't sound like he wants you. So that's why he thinks you're dumb. You've been with him for 15 years and you put up with all his stuff since y'all were kids. He doesn't care about marrying you because he doesn't have to marry you. And not only does he not have to, he just don't want to. Because my whole thing is, if you have to put this ultimatum out there to make a man marry you, he don't want you. He might even get married to you because you gave him an ultimatum or because you left him. And he might come back with a ring. To me, he still don't want you. I wouldn't even want it. After 15 years, I wouldn't even want it. First of all, that's wild. I could never stay with nobody that long, knowing I want to be married. and they still don't want to get married. No.
Stay here. I am not going to beg this man to get married to me. So yes, I'm packing my shit and I'm moving to another.
That's cap. I don't believe none of it. I believe the story of, the fact that they've been talking for 15 years since they was in high school. And I also believe that she got pissed and it was an argument and they might have even interacted with the parents. But the cap part is that I don't believe even for 1 second that this woman is looking to leave this guy.
And it's not.
And more importantly, that she's actually moving to another state. Get the hell out of here, bro. So wait a minute. His parents lived there. He lived there. You lived there. Only thing good that I've heard in this story is the thing that I didn't hear is the fact that y'all.
Okay, let me get to the comments. Y'all wait, give me a chance to catch up. Okay, Jamal says, "Do you consider yourself a modern woman?" I think that kind of depends on who you ask. I don't think about it in terms of that. I mean, obviously, I'm a woman of 2025. I don't want to be at home with the kids cooking and cleaning. I wouldn't mind doing it. Like if I had a kid by a man and he was like, "I want you to stay home for the first 5 years so we don't have to send the kid to daycare," I would do it. But I know I would find some other means to make money. I would never depend on a man financially. Never. I don't care how good he is to me. I would never do that. But I also don't mind doing the cooking and cleaning. I'm very catering in a relationship, but it's because I want to be. Don't think you run me. So it depends on the situation. Some men might call me a modern woman. It just depends on the situation. I don't get too caught up in all that. Don't pressure a man to get. My late mother-in-law pressured me to get married because she was pregnant and it was no benefit to the kids and they weren't fooled by a thing. Exactly. Exactly. If you had to pressure a man to marry you, just just let it be. It, she hasn't given him a good reason to marry her. She shouldn't have to though. And that's what I'm saying. If they've been together for 15 years and within a 15-year time span, he hasn't seen any qualities in her that would make him think, "Oh, this is the person I want to get married to," then he just don't want to be with her for the rest of his life. He don't see it for her. She shouldn't have to sit down and talk to him because what is talk supposed to do? When he's seen the actions, he's been around her, he knows her in and out, he knows her personalities. I'm sure they live together. What can she say to convince this man at this point? That 15 years of action couldn't do. Okay, Sultry, you said break that down. Why would they marry because a woman gave an ultimatum? Some men do. Some men do. Usually, how that works out, Sultry, is the woman will say, either we're going to get married or I'm going to leave. Usually, the man calls her bluff and lets her leave. What happens is the man gets out here, and at first he's happy, but then he realizes that he can't find somebody to play the fool the way that woman did. Or if she was a good woman and she was doing for him, he's going to get out here and quickly learn that it's hard to find that connection. The dating scene is different. So a lot of the times those men will come back and offer a ring, but it's not because they really wanted that woman. It's because they just couldn't find any better. You feel me? It's not because they wanted her. So a lot of times men will come back with the ring if you give an ultimatum and they get out in these streets and they see it's not what they thought it was. I'd have left after 5 years. Yeah, me too. 5 years is wild. And then I feel like if you want to be married, after a certain age, 5 years is too long. Honestly, after the age of like 27, 28, you can't wait around for 5 years to see if somebody wants to marry you. Honestly, ladies, this is how I would go about it. If I really just wanted to get married, I would let it be known when I first started dating the man that I want to get married. And then as soon as we officially got into a relationship, which it shouldn't take more than 3 months, if he like you, in my mind, the clock would start ticking. I wouldn't tell him, "Oh, if you haven't proposed to me by X amount of time, then I'm going to leave." You give yourself an appropriate time frame. You don't push it. You might pick his mind a little bit towards the end to see where he's at. But like by that time frame, if he has not proposed, then you leave. And you don't leave to try to get him to propose. You leave and be done with the situation because he already showed you he don't want you. You can explain to him on your way out the door this is why I'm leaving. Not to give an ultimatum like, if you don't propose to me right now, I'm leaving. No, the decision is already made. I'm leaving. This is why. I hope you do better with the next woman. Goodbye. That's how you handle that. Because if you don't handle it this way, then you're going to be the might as well wife. You're going to be the woman that he eventually married because he couldn't find anyone better, or that he married because he got you pregnant. So he feels obligated. He wants to do the right thing, or he's scared to be alone. You're not going to be the woman that he chose because he just genuinely loved you as a person. It's not going to be for the right reasons. That's why I say give yourself a time frame that's reasonable. Because that's another thing. I see so many women who want to get married within 6 months to a year. That's not a reasonable time frame. And I'm not saying that just for like the men. You trying to give the man some time. Don't you want to see how this man handles life ups and downs and how he behaves and acts under pressure? You want to give yourself a reasonable enough time for you to decide if you want to marry him. I think women go into this with the wrong mentality a lot of the times. We go into dating with the mentality of, I have to convince this man to get married to me. But you don't know him. He should have to convince you too that he's worth getting married to. And that doesn't mean you tell him, oh, you got to prove yourself to me. No, just be quiet, observe, watch, and let the action speak. And then you decide if it's worth it for you too. You need time. And that's what I'm saying. We go into this with the completely wrong mentality. And that's what leads to ring chasing. It is the sunken value theory, right? Or the sunken cost theory. You know what I'm talking about. You got a woman like this who's put in 15 years. As each year goes by, it's like she's spending money on a junk car. She's steadily investing. And the only reason why she won't walk away is because she's thinking about how much she's invested into this relationship. But it's not going nowhere. And that's why I say ring chasing is not a good idea for women at all. We got to think about this completely different. I know a lot of these women, these femininity coaches are trying to teach us how to chase rings, but it honestly puts you in a position of weakness.
All don't have kids together. So obviously you or him or both of you guys are responsible enough to not include children into y'all foolishness, because I don't believe that you should carry before you marry. And so that is
Bad Bunny, my boo.
the one blessing, is that doesn't really matter what she does. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I always try to emphasize to people, is that the fact that people have children with each other, but then they be so concerned about whether or not they get married, it's almost backwards. It's like, why would you have children with a person that you're not sure if you're going to stick around with, and you quick?
I agree. That's another thing. I'm glad he brought this up. If you know that you want to get married, then I suggest that you don't have kids with the man. Because yes, there are men who will marry you just because you got pregnant. Most will not, especially today in 2025. But once you have a man's kids, you have lost any leverage that you had, because he's already got a lifelong attachment to you. What is the need to get married to you for? Okay. They'll get back together possibly. She said, if I were rich and I married and only kept you home for 5 years max, after that, you got to be with the business too. Thanks for that breakdown. Made sense. Okay, yeah, no problem, sis. Yeah, if y'all need me to re-explain something, I have no problem doing that. I don't know, Mariah. I think your ego and Princella teaching is taking over on that when men can be better than that. Come on. What were you responding to, Jamal? I'm not sure what you were talking about. Ooh. But men are even taught these days to get married. It's not on their radar. Why beg? Yeah, they're not taught to get married. So it's to the point where now you're trying to fight against culture. And that's the problem with the culture. People are teaching the women to get married and be wives. They're not teaching the men to be husbands. So that already from the jump, you got an uphill battle. And I feel like people are teaching men right though. Men should go learn themselves. Men should go get to know themselves and give themselves time before they settle down. Women should do that as well. And a lot of men in the manosphere don't like to hear that because their mind automatically goes to, you're telling women to go home. You're telling women to go sleep with a bunch of men. When men hear single women, honestly and truly, the majority think she out here hoeing. She out here, she got a different dude every night, or she got a rotation. A lot of men cannot fathom, especially if you look good, that you sleep alone at night and that you don't have dudes that you're calling to pay bills. They can't fathom that. Relationships do require communication, deadlines, and great patience. Time goes by fast when you're having fun and you get complacent. Okay, so I think you were referring to me saying that a woman should have a set timeline in her head. And if the man hasn't proposed to her by that timeline, she should leave. Not give an ultimatum, but leave and seriously be done. Is that what you're referring to? I don't think that's an ego thing, Jamal. I mean, it might be. But honestly and truly, we have other things to compare it to. These women who are waiting around for 10, 15, and 20 years to get a ring, they're not happy. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they gave that man too much time. They could have been moved on in a relationship with somebody else and married by now. 15 years? She been with this man for 15 years. She could have had a whole nother relationship and been married with kids by now. And honestly and truly, I'm going to keep it all the way 1,000. Brothers, y'all can disagree with me on this, but think back to all of your relationships and interactions with women and be honest with yourself. My experience as a woman has been that when you talk to men about their behaviors and you try to reasonably and rationally talk to them and explain why you feel the way you do, they either continue with the behavior or they push you away because you said how you felt. So, like in theory, being communicative is good, but that requires two mature people who have the same desire. But most of the time, when you try to talk to a man about a problem, it never gets solved. As a matter of fact, the behavior gets worse. So in those situations, you have no choice but to step. I don't even talk to men about the stuff that they're doing that bothers me anymore because it's never worked. It's never worked. I can't think of not one time where it actually made a positive difference. So people are going to adapt and adjust to what does and does not work. How is there no kids after 15 years? I'd have like 9. No, that's too many kids. Some men will still get married. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, and yes, there are men who want to get married. I'm saying most men, the majority in society, are not being raised to get married. That's not something that they're taught to focus on. Men are more lovey-dovey than you think. Why you think red pill exists? If us men were all that emotionally detached, we do value love, but we can be knuckleheaded. Okay, I can accept that. I can accept that. I mean, I feel like most men do want a woman in their life. regardless of whether or not they want to marry her or whether or not they see it for the long term. I feel like most men don't want to go to sleep at night alone at night for real. That don't necessarily mean that they want to be with the woman that they're with. But in this situation, like with this young lady, she's there. Women always think they got to earn love. That's why she stayed for 15 years. Yeah. And then my whole thing is, what was she doing for 15 years? Because there's two sides to this, right? I'm not going to like completely absolve her because I don't know her and I don't know the man. I just know the man don't want her. But there could have been so many things that went on, even on her end, that lets him know I don't want to deal with this for the rest of my life. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a woman. And some of the ways that I observe women acting just as a female who doesn't date women, but just some of the things that I observe make me be like, oh, hell no. If I was a man, I wouldn't be putting up with none of that. I know so many women who they are with good men who help them take care of the house, cook, clean, and they don't sleep with their husband. They don't sleep with their man. Matter of fact, not only do they not sleep with their man, but they be going out of town cheating. It's women out here that move like that. I see so many married women that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that I'm like, as a woman, if I was in that man's position, I would not be putting up with that shit. All of this trying to police what I'm doing and act like you the jail warden. If I was a man, I wouldn't be putting up with none of that. Constant mood swings. I wouldn't be putting up with none of that, honestly and truly. Those men were just trapped in their flaws, but humans are built to adjust. Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, let's listen to the rest of the video.
To do that, and then you're not more careful about your Johnson, but then you're more careful about whether or not you're going to marry him or not. Whether you marry him or not don't really make no difference. But who you have children with is the person that you're going to be tied to life. That's why traditionally, in most situations, obviously, where the parents, both parents actually really care about whether or not the children are sufficient or not. Traditionally, the person that you had sex with was the person that you ultimately had to get married to, or you should have got married to. And even back in the day, as recent as, I don't know, the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, they would say, hey, oh, wait a minute, you got her pregnant, or you got to marry her now because you got to make an honest woman of her. And so that was always a narrative. Nowadays, people don't even care. You know what I'm saying? I see this story every single day of somebody talking about how, they taking this, or whether or not they got a venereal disease, or how they hate their baby daddy. Trust me, it'll probably be one or two every single day for the rest of the time that I keep this channel open, because it's just so much content and so many different stories, and they remix it differently every single day to mean something differently. But it's the same narrative. Somebody got pregnant by somebody because nobody cared, neither one of the parents. And I put it on both of them, because first you got to be a willing participant, and they have to be a willing participant in order for you guys to create a child together. So the one thing that I've seen in this story, or that I'm hearing in this story, is that clearly there are no children involved, because that would be a major factor that goes into it. So it doesn't matter what she does, but I don't believe that she's going to do anything. You're telling me that she's going to leave everything that she's ever known. And this is not a secret. This is not new. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point.
And my whole thing is, if she's saying that she's going to leave, then she needs to really dip and be gone. Because if she tries to make all these ultimatums, tell us that she's going to leave and go back and sleep with him, if he feels like this time she's serious, that'd be the time where the man gets you pregnant. Okay, now they've been together 15 years. It seems like when a man sees that you are serious about leaving, or he thinks there's a possibility that you're going to leave, that's the time you get pregnant. For real. That be the time where he go ahead and pop that anchor baby in you, even if he don't want you. So many women and men are just insufferable and love to create problems. That's true. That's true. I've said this so many times, and again, I've met good women. I have good women in my life, but I meet so many women where I can't even deal with them on a friend level because they're so petty about every little thing. I could not imagine being married to them. I see married women like that, and I'm like, how the hell are they husbands dealing with that? Because she is insufferable and annoying. Like, imagine being Sonny Hostin's husband. If I want to stay in a relationship with someone who I really love, but I'm not happy, I'll just cheat and talk about it with my homegirls or her cousins. Oops, flashback. Oh, that happened to you? A lot of women do that. A lot of women do that. I used to not think that, but the older I get and the more I talk to women, like, yeah, they be out here cheating. What up, Binky? Good to see you, sis. I'm stopping by, girl. I will catch the replay for sure. Yes. If they're comfortable in chaos and you're not, you better go. Facts. For her sister, continuation of my above point. Yeah, let me let him finish what he was talking about.
I don't even know why a woman would want to pressure a man to marry her instead of her actually wanting him to marry her off of his own merits, because you don't want to bully him into marrying you because he's gonna resent it. He's gonna resent you. He's gonna, every time something comes up or you disagree with it or you do something wrong, you're gonna be like, see, I knew it or whatever, right? So it's always.
Ain't that what I told y'all to begin with? You should never put pressure on a man to marry you. I love Iyanla Van Zant. And I know people be calling her mother pick me and all that. But again, she's one of those people where you chew the meat and you spit out the bones. You don't get to tell people how to treat you. You get to see how they treat you and you decide whether or not you want to participate. That's something I learned from Miss Iyanla Van Zant. And when you let people be who they are and treat you how they want to treat you without you putting pressure on them, then you will know exactly how they feel about you. A lot of the times, though, people don't want to do this because your ego can't handle the truth of the matter. What if they don't want you? What if they treat you like they can do without you? You don't want your ego to take that hit and that bruise. Then you're going to be called to action. You see what it is. Now, what are you going to do about it? A lot of people don't want to have to step up and do what they need to do. It's scary. I get it. But this is how you have to handle people in life, or else you'll find yourself stuck in a situation like this young lady for 15 years, feeling like you can't get out because you've invested so much time into somebody that don't want you to begin with.
There's going to be a resentment there. It has to be natural. It has to be something that everybody wants to do, not something that somebody incentivized somebody to do. And I even tell people that when it comes to them looking for relationships and they like, I'm going to talk to this guy and I'm going to put a parameter on it. I'm like, no, you should be interacting with guys that are already looking to get married, not trying to find a guy that meet all of your parameters and then trying to convince him to marry you based off of some superficial thing that you put together to make sure that you help him to understand what you're going to do, because you don't want somebody to be forced to because they feel like.
Ain't that what I said, y'all? And I didn't watch this whole video before I came on here and reviewed it. When you date off top, you ask men, if you know you want to get married, you ask them, do you want to get married? Some men will lie, but pick their brain about it just to see if it's something that they're open to. If they really want to get the draw, some will lie, but you at least got to ask. You got to do your due diligence. Put the feelers out there. And then you go from there. But ultimately, it's up to the man to move the relationship forward. Because if he don't move it forward and you're the one moving it forward, then there's going to be a resentment there. On the flip side, if he's not moving it forward and you stay too long, you're going to have resentment. So you have to find a balance. Know when to walk away.
Like they're gonna lose you or some other dumb stuff, or they trying to meet your expectation. You want a guy or you want a person to get with you because they actually want to do that. So you want, this is the thing that we say, right? Like a woman is already supposed to be a wife or wife material before you meet her. You're not supposed to, fix up a booger wolf. A man is already supposed to be a husband when you meet him, and that's why you got to be equally yoked with the person that you're supposed to be with. And this is also why I say that people should not have deep diving and relationships. Like even me, I knew who my wife was, but I didn't touch her until after I reconnected with her after we had already graduated in high school, right? So again, I think that people are rushing and pushing the gun, and now you've created an environment where I could tell you that man is probably doing whatever it is that he want to do, and he don't want to be tied down with you because you're not necessarily the person that he's always wanted. You're the person that he was always with, and it's just based off of familiarity and not necessarily desire. And that's why he's not marrying you. If a guy, look, she probably should move on with her life. I'm going to be honest with you. She absolutely should, because clearly he's not interested in marrying you. He is with you based off of comfort. I'm just being 100% real. He's with you based off of comfort. And I think it's the same thing with you. But at the same time, you don't want to keep threatening to leave because you want to get married, and you've always known who he is, and he's no different than what he's already showed you. So I'm not going for it. I don't believe it. I'm not even sure that I believe that the father gave him $50,000 last week. Come on, family. Last week.
I mean, I got to agree with Anton on all of this. I got to agree with Anton on every word he said. If I'm serious about a woman, I won't lie. I'll be a politician for the drawers. But it's many men that will lie. And I'll say this too. That kind of goes back to what I was saying. Y'all know how Anton said he met his wife when he was young, but he didn't start dealing with her until later when he was ready. A lot of the times, it don't necessarily be that it's the wrong person, it be the wrong time. Now, it is the wrong person if y'all don't necessarily share values, right? But I think as women, sometimes we don't listen to men when they say, I want to be in XYZ position before I settle down with somebody. We try to convince them that none of that stuff matters to us. Like, okay, baby, I'll hold it down. Don't worry. Like, I understand you're not making the money that you want to make. I understand that you don't have the best housing situation, like all these things. And the man is telling you, I'm not going to be able to do this because I don't have my ducks in a row. And a lot of the times, women, instead of listening to that and respecting that and going on about your business, you try to fit a square into a circle. And what that does is it puts additional pressure on the man, and it builds resentment. And you don't even recognize it. But the more that you deal with that man on that level, he probably is going to be in positions that make you have less respect for him, or that make you hold some type of resentment in the relationship because he can't be who you need him to be. But you're moving off of love and emotion. It don't even be love, it just be emotion and what you want at the time. And he's trying to tell you this is not going to work under these sets of circumstances. So it's best in that situation to just respectfully let it go. And if you want to pick it back up later, then pick it back up later. And then a lot of the times y'all will see these men get into a relationship, and feel away. Like he told you he don't want to be in a relationship with you, but you see him dealing with another woman. Yeah, but he still ain't marrying her. At least he had respect enough to tell you what it was. He over here playing with her and her feelings. That don't mean he gonna be with her. Y'all gotta learn that life has its ebbs and flows. I got finessed by a girl for money and emotional energy, and it traumatized me. So I did the same to 2 other good women, and now I'm triple hurt. Now I'm scared of women. I'm just a fan of y'all. Dang. Sometimes it goes that way. And that's another thing. Going back to women shouldn't ring chase. I see so many women who have this mentality of, I don't want to do wifely duties for a boyfriend. And honestly and truly, I kind of see what y'all mean to an extent. For example, I feel like even if you like don't want to get married, if you're reluctant to get married, you should still be equally as reluctant to move in with a man, right? But on that same token, I don't necessarily understand what wifely duties are. Because if we're just talking about cooking and cleaning, especially when he's over your house or if y'all live together, are those not things that you're going to be doing anyway on a daily basis? So what it is you have a lot of women who, if they were single, they would not be cleaning up their house, and they don't like to cook. They eat out all the time, which is fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And there are men who don't care if you do that. There are men who are married to women who don't do all that. But I think women associate being in a relationship with cooking and cleaning. So when you are ring chasing from a man for a man, now you start doing stuff that you don't necessarily want to do, or you start behaving in a way that you know you're not going to want to keep up. So then if it doesn't work out and you know you were doing all these so-called wifely duties for him, now you feel away because you didn't get a ring. Versus if you were just doing those things because that's what you do and that's what comes along with being with you. Don't be who you're not. All the long-term relationships that I've been in, I cooked, I cleaned, I did the laundry. One of my best relationships, and he would help me. That's one thing I will say. He would help me. If he saw that I was tired, he would come in there and help me clean up or help me do the laundry, or if I wash the dishes, he would dry it. But even then, the relationship still didn't work out. Honestly and truly, it took that man breaking up with me, going out in these streets and seeing that it wasn't hidden for shit, for him to realize he made a mistake and then try to get back with me. And then when he came back to me, he was like, yeah, these girls don't do this. They don't cook. They don't clean. They don't, they want to argue. They're controlling. They're jealous. So he went out there and saw this is how the women were. And then he wanted to come back with me where it was good, where I wasn't doing no tripping. I let him go do his thing. I was holding down the house in terms of cooking and cleaning. But for me, by the time he came back, I just had too much pride to take him back, because now I feel like you just getting back with me for what I do, and not necessarily because you felt like I'm the person that you're supposed to be with. So me personally, I couldn't take him back. I got too much pride. So my point in saying all that was to say you can do all the right things and a man still not marry you, but you're not going to care if that's who you genuinely are anyway. I heard that be the excuse though, that finance stuff. I don't necessarily think it's an excuse. I think in some situations it is. So there's this dude here on YouTube. His name is the Shoemake Way. And he talks about how when he first met his wife, both of them were younger. He wasn't in the financial position that he needed to be in. They broke up. He went on his way and dated other people. She went on her way and dated other people. He ended up having kids with another woman. But when he got his finances together, he went back and got his wife. So the finance situation is not always an excuse. And honestly and truly, men do feel a lot of pressure, even if they don't tell you. They feel a lot of pressure, even if you're not putting it on them. They feel a lot of pressure when they're dealing with you when they're broke. They don't feel good about themselves, especially if they really like you. It's embarrassing for them. See, that getting married or committing when I'm in a better position, I'll need her to hold me accountable, give me deadlines and ultimatums. I need that. Do you feel like you would need it if you really wanted to be with her and she already let it be known from the jump she wanted to get married? Why would she need to give you an ultimatum? It's kind of true though, but I'm different than a lot of men in that I need help with motivation because I have other issues going on, but I'm not scared of her attitude. I'm from Chicago over east. Oh, so you might like that. I also want to show this video with Queen Naja. Now, Queen Naja is another one of those girls who she's been married before. So I don't understand why she's sitting around waiting for a ring because she's been married before. And we know that wasn't hitting on nothing. And that doesn't mean that you have to go into a situation jaded. But I feel like with Queen Naja's situation, she's the more established between her and her husband. Um, she's clearly the one holding down all the bills. He's spending up her money. He be buying all these cars, but he's been with her so long. He knows she wants to get married. He does not want to marry her, and he is just trying to exhaust his time until she leaves, which I don't know if she will. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm about to open it up for y'all to come on it when I get done with this video. Y'all can come give your opinion.
After 10 years? 10 years?
10 years is fake crazy.
One of those
that ain't talk about me. 10 years?
After 10 years, and y'all been living together for 4 years, so y'all do have experience with living together. What you got to say about it? I want to hear your take on it first.
I mean, you should probably have a conversation or maybe see if he has that.
Mind you, they going on 7 years. They going on 7 years. So her acting like 10 years is such a big deal. Ma'am, 7 years and y'all already have a son together is wild. And you want to be married. This is not a situation where she doesn't want to get married. She wants to be married.
Maybe in his head, or is he planning to do it or not? I don't know. Maybe there's something stopping him from doing it. Maybe you need to communicate with that. Like, 10 years is a pretty long time. That's pretty long.
Yeah, maybe y'all should figure to go to like therapy or something and see if what exactly is stopping him. If you've been doing everything you could.
Girl, therapy. What can therapy do for a man that just don't want you? Girl, a therapist can't do nothing to make that man want you and make that man want to be with you. Ain't nothing that woman can say. This is the thing with women. Women want to get men into the therapy room so that they can get the therapist to convince the man to think the way that they think, so that they can get the therapist to tell the man that they're right. But if a man don't want you and he's been with you for 10 years and he don't want to marry you, ain't nothing that therapist gonna be able to say, sis. He just don't want you. And I don't even know why you want to try to convince him to want you. Get the fuck on.
Honestly, I just feel like a man knows. I just feel like he knows. He knows if you like.
What would you do in that predicament?
I would leave.
After 10 years.
Girl, then why ain't you left after 6 and a baby? This be the delusion of women. Women can say all the right things. They know what they should and should not be doing, but for some reason cannot fix their feet to walk. We love to say, well, at least I'm not as bad as her, or at least I didn't stay as long as she did. You're still staying too long, sis. And before you know it, 10 years will have been done passed you by.
Yes, I definitely. 10 years is crazy. It is, because
what if she's like 48?
48?
Like, what if she's like 48? You don't know how old that lady is.
Babe, your life is not over at 48 or 50. I've seen 50-year-old women. J-Lo is past 50. Like, it's beautiful women out there. You can still get yourself together. It's never too late. I don't think it's too late.
Nah, it's never too. I'm not saying it's too late. I'm just saying I think that would make it a little more
difficult.
Yeah, you just don't know what.
Okay, and that is why y'all see a lot of men trying to shame women and pressure women into getting married or staying with a man when they get closer to like 35. That's why you hear these men talking about the danger zone, because after 35, ain't nobody gonna want you, baby. Look at Drea. Look at Drea. My whole thing is this, right? I kind of see it differently. Now that I've turned 30, I don't feel like my clock is ticking. And on top of that, I've already had a kid. So I don't feel the need to try to go out here and feel a pressure to go accomplish these milestones of what people said that I should be at. As a matter of fact, I feel like I'm just starting to live. I'm just now getting into a position of my life that I like. So I already know that it's a possibility that I'm going to have to give up a lot. Like, instead of me saying, "Oh, I'm in a rush to get married, I'm in a rush to sit down, I'm in a rush to have some more kids," I'm in the mindset of I'm thinking about everything that I'm going to have to give up. It's so crazy how it reversed. So the manosphere talks about how when women are in their 20s, we don't want to give things up, or we want to be out in these streets, or we want to be discovering ourselves, or we don't want to settle down. And when I was in my 20s, all I wanted to do was be in a relationship. I ain't never been the type of person to really press the whole marriage thing, but I've always been a relationship person. And I never thought about what I would have to give up by getting into a relationship. But now that I've been single for a while and I'm getting older, I feel like, do I want to sit down somewhere and have to give up all of the dreams and goals that I didn't get to accomplish while I was in my 20s? And the only circumstance in which I would get into a relationship at this point is if the man was not controlling and he would let me be me. And by let me be me, no, I don't mean be out here cheating and dealing with all kind of men. I can be faithful. I don't get into relationships with men that I don't want. I don't get with somebody that's for the right now because I'm scared to be alone. When I get with a man, I want to be with him. I'm not thinking about being with nobody else. It's so easy. I don't care how fine the man is. I don't care how much money he got. It's so easy for me to say no or not go for none of that. But in terms of the goals that I want to accomplish, man, that's the thing that I'm trying to protect the most. See, that's the difference though, Mariah. Shoemakeway left and got himself together. This man here with the 15 years is milking her, then brings up finances. Well, according to the story that Shoemake said, the girl left. Here's the thing, a man, most of the time, he not gonna leave you. I'm pretty sure that if Shoemake was allowed to, if that girl let him, he would have stayed and milked her too. She left. She got on. So that's what most men. If you don't leave, they're not gonna leave you alone. But the longer you deal with them on that level, the less respect they have. And then it gets to the point where they don't want you no more. They don't respect you no more. So you're better off leaving on a high note. So true. Yeah, have to admit, it's not a bad selling point, the age thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. The older you get, you start doubling down on decisions with a magnifying glass. Yeah, for sure. And like, I'm open to it. Don't get me wrong. The marriage thing, I don't know. I'm not pressed for that. Honestly, it would have to be something the man wants. And I'm not going to say, like, if I liked him enough, obviously, I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody I don't like or I don't want. But it would have to be something that he really wants to do. And then I would do it. But it would have to be after I've been with him long enough to see, is he going to try to control me? You know, am I going to have to cut myself down just to be with you? If I got to do that, I don't want to be with him. No. Honestly and truly, I wouldn't even mind being in a situation where I have a man that is like my long-term boyfriend and we live apart. Like, he got his house, I got my house. We come spend the night. When you here at my house, I will cook for you, whatever you want, baby. You just got to go home. I wouldn't mind that. But you know, if I love the dude enough and he wanted to live together, I would do it. I would do it reluctantly though, under the right circumstances. Okay, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. If y'all want to come up and give your opinion, again, you don't have to mic up. You can just talk on your phone. I'm sorry, you don't have to cam up. Obviously, you have to mic up. So yeah, guys, I dropped the link to StreamYard in the chat. So if you want to come up and give your opinion on this matter, the floor is yours. I will follow your lead. You can tell me your opinions about marriage. Do y'all think it's worth it today in 2025? I mean, honestly and truly, I feel like if you want to come up, Jamal, come up. You know, it's always a good time when you come up. It can be multiple people up at once. So don't feel like you have to wait your turn. I think I can have up to like 6 people up on here. If y'all want to do a panel, we can do a panel. You know, I'm on what y'all on. I'm going to jump on in a second. Okay. How do y'all feel about, yeah, do y'all feel like marriage is worth it? Honestly, I feel like unless you have kids, I don't necessarily see the point in it because you can just go get a divorce. Me personally, I wouldn't say I'm somebody that's necessarily marriage material. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like a woman that's marriage material is a woman that's going to stay no matter what. Like you can cheat on her, you can put hands on her, you can disrespect her, you can embarrass her, and she gonna stay and look the other way. Because when you take those marriage vows, it's till death do you part, for better and for worse. And me personally, I know that there are certain things that a man could do that would make me run to the courthouse. Cheating, doing something egregious to my daughter, laying your hands on me. Yeah, that kind of stuff is going to make me run to the courthouse. So I can't say I'm a for better or for worse person. I'll stay with you if you get sick. I'll stay with you if you're going through depression or something like that. But if you're mistreating me or betraying me, no, I'm not staying. Oh, what's going on? Hold on. Hold on, Jamal. Okay, Jamal, you're up. Hello?
Sorry,
Hey,
I was just making sure that it wasn't no echo because you was playing on two screens.
okay, let me make sure. Can y'all put a 1 in the chat if the sound is good? Okay, I got my echo cancellation on too. I think we're good. All right, what's up, Jamal? Talk to me.
Okay, well, I was gonna say that I, I don't like these subjects that much, but it's just really important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do definitely believe in marriage. Um,
Okay.
I think that everything that was good, uh, that is normally designed to be good, has been corrupted in this society anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would marriage be any different? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that because we pay so much attention to celebrity marriages and there's so much dysfunction out there and bad kids, it's
Mm-hmm.
terrified people from going to get married. But at the same time, people are having kids and they're not married. So it's like, it's almost you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Uh, then you have
Mm-hmm.
women out there that are making more money than men. And I don't think that we've done, I don't think that our I don't think our OGs and people who are older, I think society changed more rapidly than they could teach us. Same thing with school, same thing with church, same thing with everything. And so as a result, like I'm a pretty futuristic man, so I would know what to do if I was in a relationship with a woman who made more money than me. Like I know what to do. I can do what to do. But at the
Mhm.
same time, a lot of men do not. Um, and they're not prepared for those scenarios. And when they are, you end up looking like a Stedman or looking like a what's Nicki Minaj's husband? I've been smoking a lot.
Kenneth Petty.
Kenneth Petty, yeah. You end up looking like Kenneth Petty or whatever. So or Mendices. And so which by the way, if they weren't with the women they were with, they would or women weren't famous, they would be considered high value men in their respective circles. But the point that
Mhm.
I'm making is that I think that because there hasn't been enough ways, I think there's not enough ways of thinking to be able to say, okay, um, marriage is safe if you do things this way, if you're in this kind of scenario. People break up over all sorts of things that you would think as a human society we would have solutions for if people were that committed. Men and women do believe in love in spite of all the attempts to try to stop it through culture or whatever the case might be. Because even before Red Pill and these women like Prince, I mean, you have rap music, so and other and universities. So there's always those voices that you know are trying to modernize people, quote unquote. But ultimately, I do believe in love and marriage. Now, as far as the age thing is concerned, look, man, I'm not gonna. I love women, and I would never say, I'm never the one to talk about women hitting the wall. That though that is real, and I would never say that you're not getting younger woman. You ain't got much time. Though that could be true. So out of respect to the men, I'm all for that talking point. I'm like a record executive. If it sells, do use it. That's how I look at it. I mean, if it sells, if that will sell, then use it. But it's one of those things. I may not believe it's true, or it might not be true in reality. But if I'm spitting game to you, it's true. That's
Mhm.
that's how I look at it.
I just kind of feel like I agree with most of what you said. I I feel like honestly and truly a lot of this generation of women is scared to get married, not necessarily because of social media, but when we talk to the women, when we talk to the our grandmothers, or when we see what our grandmothers had to go through just to hold it down, or for a lot of women what their mothers went through, like that
Mm-hmm.
put me off to marriage far more than anything I've seen on social media. I think what social media has done is allowed women to share their experiences, right? And then we see, oh, there are a lot of commonalities with the backgrounds or the things that women have dealt with. I think people just kind of assumed back then that that's just the way it was, and that's how it's supposed to be, right? Um,
Right.
so I mean, I've heard a lot of horror stories. As a matter of fact, my great grandmother told me to stay away from men. I promise you, she told me that at 18 years old. She said it.
You got
She
to
said
see
it.
your great grandmother at 18.
You said what?
You actually got to see your great grandmother at 18.
My big mama's still alive now.
That's crazy. I've
Where
never
you?
even met my grandmothers.
Yeah, yeah. I met both of my grandmothers on my mother's side.
Wow, you're extremely lucky. Well, I guess that's why you have such. I mean, I don't want to say that, but I'm sure that has some kind of psychological. I'm sure that there's a psychological difference in views between the two of us. Because I've always kind of, sort of, I don't want to sell out my mom by saying this, but the women in the community and the diverse amount of economic, cultural, and racial environments and homes I've got to see.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I it kind of gave me a feeling of dealing with love, whether it be directly or asymmetrically, which
Mm-hmm.
means that I'm the type of person, if I really want to be with a girl and I'm not sufficiently loved, but I know she's too good for me, then I'll figure out some kind of asymmetrical way to make up for that elsewhere in some kind of way, emotionally or whatever. Um, there's definitely too many mixed marriage messages about marriage. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I try to find some kind of second or third hand way to get that, uh, or if it's or any kind of thing, in order to keep that marriage together or keep that relationship together. And perhaps she might do the same thing with me if I'm insufficient in, a certain arena. Um, so yeah, so my thoughts about that, about marriage and relationships, in particularly long-term committed relationships, is
Mm-hmm.
simply that I think we have to have more creative minds and have we have to be who we say we are as a society. You have to be more modern. I think that we like to think that we're an advanced society, but push comes to shove, our instincts are whatever the hell we grew up with, whatever the hell we know, whatever the hell church our mom, grandma used to take us to. I don't think we necessarily have come up with a real solution. And I think what we see on the internet is toxic. Ultimately, we have to have more channels about, okay, how do you, this type of relationship? I think I would respect Cynthia G and these other people if they said, okay, this is how you deal with the relationship if you're with a Dominican man, a Brazilian man, a British man, of this, of that, a third. You know what I mean? Of this class, of that class, of this profession. These are the options of white men for you. This is what they deal with, and you actually give real analysis on how to handle the very complex and diverse types of men and women we have today, and the type of relationships that exist. People work nights, all type of shit.
Okay, so I have a question for you because from the messages that I hear from Cynthia G and especially Princella, to me, especially Princella, she is telling you how to deal with the men if you are going to deal with the men. Uh Six the Goddess says that as well. So their advice to women is all men are going to cheat, so put up with the cheating. All men are going to lie, so put up with the lying. All men are
That's
going
basic level stuff.
to I'm sorry.
That's basic level stuff. I mean, you're talking about defensive stuff. I'm talking about the different ways of interaction in the relationship or in different situations or circumstances that may be around it. If somebody's a nurse, if somebody works nights, if somebody has certain, different things, different political
Okay.
views. I'm talking
So
about stuff like that.
you're saying that like we people need to tailor the advice more is what you're saying. Like there needs to be advice for different circumstances. Uh
Yeah, yeah, more diversity.
okay, but let me ask you before we because we can get to that. But do you agree with the advice that they give that women are gonna have to put up with cheating in order to make a relationship work? Do you
Yes
think
and
that
no.
is generally good advice to give women? Now, what like do you as a man do you feel like that is true advice, and then do you think that that is advice that women should follow?
I think it's true to a degree, and
Okay.
it's advice that women should follow depending on the situation that they prioritize. For example, I hate to have to do this, but this is where class definitely matters,
Hmm.
um, or the value of the man, or the type of woman that it is. So if you're in a relationship, like if you're Jay Z and you're Beyonce, and let's say it's well known that Beyonce is very difficult to deal with, right? Um, if Jay dilly dallies here and there, at least that might rejuvenate him enough to be able to put up with Beyonce. And if he stays at a high enough value and values B when he's with her, then perhaps she might, and he says, hey, if you want to, get at me about doing this and tell the public you're threatening to leave and make a lemonade about me, I'll put up with that to help your image as well. And so let's say they, agree to that beforehand, because who's to say that they didn't, right? And
Okay.
so, I think that at that point, if that might be, I would say yes. If you're in a circumstance where a guy is working hard and he's away a lot, and let's say he's the type of person he gets along with people, and every so often things might get a little too intimate with the people that he. But overall, he really, really loves this woman. It's not something that it's not about whether or not it's one of those things, right? And you could say the same thing for a high quote unquote value woman too. She's holding it down for this man. She's too good for him, but she does mess around a little bit. But Um,
Okay, so you're an equal opportunist.
yes, but I don't
Okay.
think that it's a good message. I know that it's heartbreaking for people to be cheated on. So that's why I
Mhm.
said it depends. It depends on what you're bringing. If you're going to cheat, at that point, that's when inequality comes into play. At that point, that's when elitism comes into play. You have to be bringing it if you think that, I mean, if you're expecting that you should be able to cheat and still be able in a relationship and treat it as somebody who's a loving partner, then you're gonna have to really bring the smoke.
Under what circumstances should a woman not put up with cheating?
I would say probably in damn near most circumstances, if the two people are relatively equal, right? So, for example, he's not particularly doing that much more, or it's relatively close to 50-50, maybe 55-45 in his or her direction. Anything within that ballpark, um, she's absolutely um, she's absolutely within her right to cheat. Or if like okay, if he's deficient in areas of emotional support, so forget about material stuff. Whatever. Let's just assume that both of them hold it down. They're responsible, average, intelligent, people. Let's put profession aside. If he's negligent with the emotional support, he's not giving it to her in the bedroom like that. She's not really busting nuts like that, or having O's like that. Then yeah, at that point, if he cheats, then it's like nah, because you have too many strikes against you. You have to be sufficient enough there. So suppose he's not financially great, but he is an amazing man. Uh, then yeah, then maybe he might be I'd be excused for cheating if she's just not emotionally receptive at all, but she has money. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's very diverse circumstances, but if the person is deficient in more than one area, then cheating is the third strike. They shouldn't put up with it then.
But I feel like with a lot of women, I'm going to include myself in this. You could be sufficient in all other areas, but if you cheat, that erases everything. That erases everything. It doesn't matter if you are a good person. It doesn't matter if you listen to me. It doesn't matter if you claim to care about me and you love me. Once I find out you cheated on me, there is some kind of primal switch that goes off in me, and I don't want you anymore. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, I mean, again, I can understand that. And I would say in that case for you, if you ever found yourself in a situation like that, but you was
Mhm.
already mixed up in a relationship, I mean, it's only a bad idea if you feel like the relationship that you're in is really, like for example, if y'all are in business together or if y'all really have good chemistry, but let's say he's away a lot. And that's like I said, context matters a lot. Context and circumstances matter. And let's say
For
you're not the most emotionally available woman. Let's suppose you're very demanding and you didn't give him a chance uh, to tell you his grievance. You know what I mean? And I could make the same excuse for you too. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying context does matter. And I'm not saying you should
I
put up.
agree with
That's
that.
understandable. If you met a Colombian man, you guys are together, have a relationship, but then he cheated. Yeah, you can do that. You know what I mean? That's a normal thing. If you're back in Texas and a dude you with and he cheated, whatever, you could drop him. It's nothing. But that's what I said. Special circumstances, I would say.
Yeah, I think with me, so this is my motto: do the best that you can, right? And I think that's why it's so easy for that switch to turn off in me. I'm not saying I'm perfect in relationships, but I'm saying part of this has to do with being a Gemini. We are very responsive partners. Like if you tell us something is not right, we respond. We're not the type of partner that's going to do the same thing over and over and over again and you come tell us and we're not going to adjust. We are communicators above all else. And we want to make sure that you're happy, right? And this is part of the reason why I've never been able to spin the block, so to speak, on a relationship or let somebody else back and spin the block and we just be together and it be good. because by the time it's over, or let's say if a man cheats on me or something like that, I know that I did everything I was supposed to do and that you did that because you wanted to do it. And I guess I kind of look at it a little bit differently. So I do know that men and women are wired differently, right? In terms of sex drive. But I also know when I'm in a relationship, I'm responsive to those needs. So I don't care if you go out of town. You can't be out of town for a week and not cheat, because I can go out of town for a week or 2 weeks or a month or 4 months. I've gone to, like, I've been in long distance relationship and not even kissed another person. So for me, I don't I don't hold space in my heart for that kind of understanding. So that's what I'm saying. That's my motto. And that's why I tell people, if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, don't hold back. Give it your all. Do the best you possibly can. Be responsive to their needs. That way, when they do some fuck shit, you can be done and you don't feel like, if I would have did XYZ differently, maybe they wouldn't have did that. No, they moved how they moved because that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I understand that. Granted, I know a lot of it with Gemini females that cheat, but Geminis are actually one of the people that people are most scared to be in a relationship with because of the two
Really?
sides. People, yeah, women like guys like Pac and other Geminis, like they got the two sides thing going on.
We do
So
have the two sides, but for me, the cheating part ain't never been a thing. The two sides is, we can, okay. If you ever really just listen to me talk, the reason why I don't get on here and argue with people is because I genuinely can see other people's point of view. Or then we'll have our days where we're really lovey dovey, and then we have our days where we want space, we want to be left alone.
mhm.
Or like for me, it's more that, and it depends on the Gemini. Like it depends on their entire chart. So, for example, my love, uh, my Venus, that's what controls love, is in Taurus. Taurus is stable, it's stability. Those type of Geminis tend to want to be in committed long-term relationships. So
Mhm.
that has a lot to do with it too, you know. So and then I do know some Gemini women who have cheated. Most of the time though, what I will say in those situations, it was a situation where the dude been dogging her out and finally she just cheats, you know?
Yeah,
Or it, like most of the time when I meet Gemini women who have cheated, it's that situation, or she's been paying all the bills and he's mistreated her, he's been cheating on
yeah,
her,
yeah.
and
I've
she's
seen
cheating.
that.
I've never really seen a Gemini be in a good relationship and she's cheating. Like I've never known a Gemini woman to be a cheater just to be a cheater.
Well, most women don't cheat if they're in a decent relationship. Again, they only cheat if, like, the only women like that who would cheat are women who might believe they have tons of options. But like, the
Yeah.
only women don't cheat like that if they're in a somewhat decent relationship. Even if the dude is not all that, like, women will put up with a lot in relationships. But
Hmm.
at the same time, women nag a lot in relationships too, because they take relationships a lot more seriously. Um, but men take
Yeah.
the institution of the relationship serious. So that's what
Women
things
do
get.
nag a lot. Women do nag a whole lot. And again, I said this earlier. I understand just trying to make friends as a woman in my early 30s, just trying to make new friends and seeing how much pressure women put on their friends, how they are way too emotional, how they're so sensitive about everything. And like, that's where I can kind of understand sometimes when women are not responsive to women's emotional needs, because some of them are just too emotional, or
Yeah,
everything that you want from the man is based off of you getting in your feelings, and you think the sun, the moon, and the stars revolves around your ass. One of them being, like, I can honestly say, I don't, me as a woman, I don't like the idea of having to text a man back and forth all day. I don't even
yeah,
want to get in that habit. We don't even have to talk every single day. Really,
Yeah,
just call my phone when you want to talk because I have other stuff to do. And I'm perfectly fine with us not talking via phone. Hit me up when you want to see me. Like, I'm
yeah.
perfectly cool with that. And then me trying to make friends with women who expect you to talk to them and text them every day, that shit is annoying. And then
Yeah,
it's like, it's not that I don't like you or that I don't want to build a friendship with you. It's that I have other things that I have to prioritize. And it has absolutely nothing to do with you as a person. It has everything to do with certain things just have to get done, boo. That just is
well,
what it
no,
is.
Virgo women find a way to do it. That's just not how you're wired. I have Gemini friends. I know we think the exact same way. But believe me, there's Virgo women that might have something to say about that because
What
nobody.
happened? Oh, Virgo women say that too? What do you mean?
No, I'm saying, well, there's no Virgo women that think like that too. But
Oh yeah,
you
we're very
saying,
similar. We're very similar.
but I'm saying that when you say that, I can't. I was about to say you're just not wired. You're wired that way where you don't have to talk to somebody every day. But my thing is that well, Virgo women would. I think a lot of Virgo women would say, "What? What do you mean? I do have a whole bunch of others. So I do this, and that, and I still find a way to provide with my man every single day. And he better text me. And he better do this and this and this and this and
No, I'm not putting that kind of emotional pressure on myself. And because I know I don't like that emotional pressure, I don't do the people that I date like that. Now, if we're going weeks and weeks and weeks, if we're going a week, and depending on how, that's another thing. It depends on how far into it we are. I don't understand why women meet a man and or a man will meet a woman and you expect to be prioritized and y'all barely know each other. That makes absolutely no sense. You have to get to know people to allow them to make space for you in their life because that takes up a lot of time depending on how much the person has going. Me personally, I don't like starting a task and then having to stop what I'm doing to respond to text. I hate it. I don't care who it is. I hate
yeah.
it. That's why if I date somebody, I will text you in the morning time and then I'll text you when I lay down. All that throughout the day stuff, I don't want to do it. I hate it. And it will make me irritated.
Mm. Yeah, I get that. But you know what? I think that it all depends on the energy of the relationship and how y'all vibe. I mean, a lot of that stuff comes naturally and it's just, it flows. I don't necessarily know, but I definitely know that that is an issue. I've had that as an issue. Uh, I mean, I'm thinking I'm talking enough. I even might sometimes make poems early in the morning before, and even still, I'm expected to call a bunch of times. But I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
everybody's
like,
different. When it comes
bruh,
to women, when it comes to women, I mean, again,
I wouldn't
that's
be able
where
to do it.
that's where men cater a lot. I mean, we understand that there's women who think like you, and we have to remember to not go overboard. And then there's women who are the complete opposite of you, and we have to remember to put in extra effort. Like, you know what I'm saying? We talk about that
But
kind of stuff.
how long can you keep that up? That be my thing. How long can you keep that up? Especially if you have other stuff that you have going on. How long can you call a person every single day, text them all throughout the day, just so that they don't have an emotional response to not feeling like they're getting enough attention? I don't have time to babysit somebody. And that's why I'm saying I don't have time to be an emotional blanket for somebody. And that's why I'm saying, in terms of that, I actually do understand what a lot of men
I
are
like
saying
being an
because
emotional blanket. I think
what
that's cute.
you said what?
I like being an emotional blanket. I think that's cute. But I was going
Okay,
to answer the
okay.
question by using Magic Johnson as an example. Uh, it was the first game of the year. You talked about it, and Kareem Abdul hit a game winning shot, and Magic jumped all over him and started hugging him. He was like, "Yo, Magic, this is
Hold
only
on,
the
hold on,
first
hold
game."
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Sultry, it's in the chat. Go ahead, Jamal.
No, he's like, "Magic, this is only you have 81 more games to go, man." And
Mm-hmm.
Magic was, and this is true. And Magic said, "Yeah, but they didn't know about me was I was ready to do that for 81 more games." And so the point that I'm making is that Kareem looked at things in the long term. It's like, man, save your energy for the playoffs when it's important. Magic was turned up all the time from game one all the way to the last game of the year. So
Okay.
the point that I'm making is that it depends on the energy of the person. Some people, they need to conserve energy and use it for other things. Um, people just wire differently. And there's some people that are just turn.
Yeah,
Both men and women, I know that are like that.
I could see that, and I guess that's where compatibility would come into play.
Mm-hmm.
What up, Sultry?
Sultry, I'll let her talk.
I don't know. Sultry, I can't hear you, girl.
Yeah, I'm up now.
Hi, what's up? How are you today, sis?
I'm doing good. I'm loving this conversation. So I'm about the same age as you, 30.
Okay.
And you know how today you're talking about is marriage like important these days. I'm gonna be honest, I
Mhm.
don't feel like it's as significant as it used to be because it's like in this era, it's like you hear so many mixed messages from like social media and then just life itself with your own like experiences that you see. So, like, for an example, when you on social media, the dudes be like, marriage is just a piece of paper. And then what's sad about it is you might have grown up to want to get married, but then you hear messages that's like shooting you down from wanting to get married. So that's where I'm at with it. So it's like how you were saying earlier about like, oh, if I had a setup where it was like a dude had his own place and you had your own, and then do, some type of agreement or a partnership like that way. Or I was thinking something different, to be honest.
Okay.
Because you know how people could like purchase a duplex and like your dude could have the upstairs and you could have the downstairs.
I know
And
that's
then
right.
that's how I was thinking. But
And you know what? I could see that actually being a really healthy setup. And again, this kind of goes along with the attachment styles of the two people involved. Because I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of relationships don't work is because people are stacked on top of each other. And a lot of people think that when I say, for example, Sultry, I ain't never been the type to just be all up underneath the man. And like the older I get, the less that I'm that way. Especially like in terms of, again, I dated a dude who used to DJ and he used to like to go out way more than me. He liked to go out. And a lot of people will be like, oh, you let him go do this or you let him. And it's like, first of all, he's grown. I don't let him go do nothing. Second, if somebody comes to me and tells me he's cheating on me, or the first time a girl calls my phone, which it never happened, the whole time we were together, it never happened. But I knew I was prepared to leave. I wasn't, people hear that as you're giving somebody permission to cheat as long as they don't find out. And that's not the case at all. If a man wants to cheat on you, I don't care if you give him a curfew. I don't care if you track his phone. I don't care if you call him and make him check in with you and tell him he can't go anywhere or anything like that. He will literally be fucking his coworker in the closet at work while the location is showing that he's at work. Like, if a man wants to cheat on you, he's gonna cheat on you. There's nothing you can do about that. And as a grown person, it's not my responsibility to like babysit somebody. So like, I've always seen the value in giving people their space and the opportunity to decide who they want to be behind your back.
okay, so let me hop in real quick. So this is my thing. See, when you've been single for a while, it's almost like you get used to your own company. And that can be a good thing, and then that could be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And see, once you get used to your own company, you don't, like how you were saying earlier, you don't want to lose that autonomy. So that's why, and then you start learning how to be healthy. Like how you were saying earlier with women, they be expecting men to like text them or call them all the time. But once you actually get comfortable in your skin, you don't want that type of dynamic. You don't want no dude
That.
texting and calling you all day. So when I was talking about that whole duplex idea, it's like, okay, he got space to be him. He can make as much as mess as he wants to because you got your own space and so do I.
Facts. And then like, that's such a great idea, Sultry, because a lot of times men don't want to come home because they don't want to hear that nagging. You know, women, we're particular. We like things a certain way. Me personally, I ain't never really just been in a relationship with no man that's like super duper dirty. Like I've always been in a relationship with with a boyfriend who's like mom taught him how to clean up after himself. So I haven't dealt with that even living with a man. Um but like I've heard men can be very dirty, and then the woman starts nagging, and then it just kind of creates a rift in the relationship. Versus if y'all got your own space, then it don't even that's a non-factor at that point. I like that. That is a very solution-oriented way to do it. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
cause okay, I got one more thing to say, then I'm
No, go ahead.
finished.
Take your time. Yeah.
Okay. So they said, because I was on social media a little bit, and they were saying that this is probably going to be the new way. If people are still wanting marriage, they're probably gonna still have a dynamic to where people are in their, separate homes. And it's not like it's unheard of, but it's just not common.
I think it's gonna be because I'm seeing this more and more. Who was that? Cheryl Ralph. Y'all know the actress I'm talking about. Cheryl Ralph. Dang, I can't think of her name. But she's been married for almost 30 years. And people ask her, how does she keep her relationship together? She was like, I don't even live with me and my husband live on two different sides of the United States. That's how they've been together so long.
That's
And
extreme.
yes, but and that's like on the extreme side of things. But I mean, if you think about it, a lot of problems are really, really small. We just make them, they just seem bigger when you live together and you start nitpicking. And I know a lot of people feel like it's not a real marriage if y'all are not up under each other all the time. But like to me, those people are just clingy, or they just want to police and control and know what their partner got going on at all times. Like, here's the thing: when people want to do something, they're gonna do it. But I'm for that. Like, I wouldn't mind if we are gonna live together, you have your own room, I have my own room. That way, if you want to have your own time, you can go have your own time. You can watch whatever the hell you want to watch. You can stretch out on your bed. If you
Yes,
miss me,
make sure he got a man cave and I got a beauty room. That's all I need.
facts. And
that's right.
actually,
100 to that.
and it actually kind of seems kind of fun and kind of cute. Like, imagine this: you and your man got your own rooms, but like just randomly, when he want to see you, he come knock on the door. Cute, in my opinion. What y'all think? Hello.
I'll let you talk, Jamal.
Oh, okay, no problem. No, and I was gonna say I like that idea. I think I kind of believe a marriage should people should be all up under each other too. But I like that idea. A mixture of everything, and the man cave and the beauty room. I mean, if you could afford to do that, that is premium. I mean, that's that one way that will extend the relationship at least 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But
And here's
yeah,
the
you go
thing,
ahead.
Jamal. People are having fewer kids now. So that's another thing. If you get into a marriage, choosing to have fewer kids or no kids will leave you the money to, instead of you had to get a 4 or 5 bedroom house to make room for all your kids. Now you can get a 3 or 4 bedroom house and y'all use that extra space for your hobbies if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, because I'm just thinking about the relationships I've been in and the kind of women I've been around. That even if I mean, if like I said, if I was in a relationship with someone for 15 years, I just can't. I just can't picture a scenario where any less than 5 kids are gonna pop up on the scene. I just don't see. I just don't see my luck being better than that.
Okay, I understand.
Wait, so
I
I have a question for you. So how many kids do you visualize like in real life?
Well, I already have three. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, I don't want to give too many details, but uh, put it this way: if I have the same status as Aunt Edwards, I might mess around and be like Nick Cannon, and it would be pretty much effortless. That's as much as I could say. But I mean, so in other words, some of that I've kind of like. If I'm the kind of person, I'll be like, you know what? Beyond a certain point, it doesn't matter what I want. I mean, I'll delegate that to the woman. So if the woman, there's some women that'll be like that. They're like, no, I want two more, or I'll whatever. And you gotta have to just be happy with that, even if that's not what you want, or you have the kids too soon. I've learned that. I've kind of live and let live and just shoot.
Okay, I got a question. I got another one for you. Okay,
Okay.
so you know how you were asking Mariah earlier, if she was modern or traditional, what are you?
I am very, very like weird and futuristic. Like a lot of the stuff that I think in my head, I've had in my head since I was a kid. So I've never understood the big deal about women working. Because I was born in '83, so in Chicago. So I've in the ghetto, been upper class, so around white people. I heard as a kid, I heard so much. I knew all these women were getting divorced in the '80s. I sat in their rooms and listened. But yeah. So um, I even had visions about polygamous marriage, but it wasn't like when you're a kid, you think about sex and that kind of stuff differently. So it was more like because most of my friends are female, and so uh, it would be. I don't know. I guess I must have seen something in my side. It was these five girls on girls I liked, and so I envisioned being in a relationship with them. But I've never seen any good examples. But I've been around some gangster chicks, so therefore it's given me the chance to see, the different energy. Like I said, um, you never have to convince me that women can do anything and that they pick up the slack for men, and then sometimes it can work. So my point is that I'm pretty futuristic, and I think even traditional roles you can modernize, but I'm a pretty futuristic guy. I know that was a mouthful, but
Okay, so give me an example what you meant by the traditional can be modernized. What do you mean by that?
Hold on, y'all.
so
Hold on. Real quick. Hold on, real quick. Y'all, if y'all are just now coming in, y'all make sure that y'all hit the like button so that people can see that I'm on live. What up, Big Money Politics? Good to see you here, brother. Okay, y'all continue.
So, for example, right? Mariah was saying how she couldn't sit under, even if a man had means, they were living like the show Dallas. She went back you know, to Texas, and they had a home in Mexico or Colombia in there, right? And so she couldn't just sit at home and be a homemaker for more than 5 years. Well, plot twist. What if he wanted to sit at home for the next 5 years, and you got to take over the business? And so, I think I break it up into a TV series where it's like, okay, for now she's at home as a wife, and I'm this big rich guy. But then 5 years comes up, I'm getting stressed. This business is serious, and she's picking up things, and she's learning things. So as a result, then okay, fine, you go run the company, and then I'll go and be a support for the next 5 years, or um, basically like Hillary Clinton, where your husband is playing the traditional role up front, but behind the scenes you really run everything. Uh, so um, different things like that, and there's other stuff I'm not thinking of, but that's just right off the bat what's coming to mind.
Mm, okay.
So, what are you, by the way? I'm guessing you're a modern woman. I don't know what the hell that means, but
To be honest, I feel like I'm similar to Mariah, but what I define it is a little bit of both. So,
Mm-hmm.
like how you were saying, a woman, she can be at home, like she could be cooking and cleaning, like Mariah said, like we're willing to do that. But still in the background, we want our own autonomy to where if we wanted to have a job in the background, then we can. Or if we wanted to run our own, business, then we can. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a mix of both.
yeah, because I love to see women try. So that's why I said, what if you were at home as a homemaker? but you know, you were like a mob wife where you're actually running things behind the scenes, and you know, some of his advisors or people that he are big people, they come to you and say, all right, I talked to him about this. I need to talk to you about this idea. And then, because if you agree with this, then this is a go. I don't care what he say. Like, there's definitely wives out there like that, where even though she's at home, people are like, that's she's the engine of this, and the guy could be a powerful, respected man. And I love that. I
Mhm.
love to see that kind of stuff. I wish there was more Hillary Clintons without being Hillary Clinton, if you understand what I'm saying.
I get exactly what you mean by that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Mariah. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna go now.
Okay, well, I appreciate you for coming up here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank
Nice
you.
talking to you. I'm gonna get off here
Bye.
soon.
Bye. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I think this is overall like an interesting conversation. I think we need to be more solution oriented. I think the problem that most people are having right now is just we're kind of putting the cart before the horse because people are just having a hard time getting something going now.
Hmm.
Like getting into an actual relationship. I think a lot of people are dealing with ghosting. I think a lot of people are hesitant to let somebody get close to them. I think a lot of people have that mentality of like they want to dip their toe in the water, but as soon as something happens that makes them uncomfortable, they want to take it out. So I think that's a bigger problem than people deciding whether or not they want to actually get married. Do you actually want to deal with people romantically? I think
Hmm.
people really genuinely don't know what they want. I think people are dealing with their confliction because as humans naturally we want to be around other people. Humans naturally want physical touch. They want all of that, but when you're dealing with so much trauma and then it's trauma that's being perpetuated every time you open up your phone, it can be hard to try to wrap your mind around trying to learn somebody enough to even get to any type of commitment, let alone marriage. So that's something that in like future lives I would like to dive into more. Hopefully we can be solution oriented. I like talking to you, Jamal.
No
Soul
problem.
Street, I like your idea about the duplex. With that said, guys, I'm trying to end this live before I hit the 2 hour mark.
Okay, have
But
a blessed
thank
weekend.
you too. Thank you so much for coming up, Jamal. Thank y'all, everybody who came on the live. Y'all, please hit the like on your way out. I will come on tomorrow and we'll do another panel at the end of the live. But with that said, guys, if you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe, share my videos if you care, and I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a good evening. Goodbye.